You ever feel like you're living the same day? Just over and over and over again, like you're trapped in some revolving door that's sealed and filling from the bottom up with blood and bone and gristle and children's dolls, and you're gonna drown. I do. A gun and truck terror attack in Nice, Paris, has left, at the time of this recording, 77 dead, 150 wounded. I'm sure that the number of dead will rise. A man or men drove down a road into a family event where people had gathered to watch the fireworks on Bastille Day, and he gunned it into the crowd, driving over children, driving over mothers, driving over families, reducing them to disassembled wetware, staining the entire road. Pursuing people who are trying to get away. Grand theft arsehole on the loose. Then, when he could drive no more, he got out of the car, got out of the truck, and began shooting at people, exchanging gunfire with the police. Then, eventually, he was shot dead. According to some reports, there may be another person on the loose who was involved. France, of course, still under a state of emergency following last year's attacks on Paris. Almost 150 people, as you recall, then were murdered in cold blood by ISIS and Al-Qaeda operatives. France has been subjected to an Islamist attack, a terrorist attack, approximately every 2 months, making it, I guess, the honorary Israel in Europe. According to unconfirmed reports in the French media, ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack. So people saw, and there's videos of this online. I'm not going to show you those here. You can see them if you want. The truck was seen jumping up on the pavement and piling into anyone that the driver could see, running over those who tried to get away. On Bastille Day, a family day. Bastille Day, of course, celebrates the storming of the Bastille prison in Paris in 1789 during the French Revolution. It's the country's biggest public holiday. Witnesses said that the driver deliberately crashed this truck into a group of people, jumped down, and then, of course, opened fire with a gun and was shot down. You see the pictures of the truck is riddled with bullets. U.S. President Barack Obama has condemned the massacre, describing it as what appears to be a horrific terrorist attack. Any group named in particular? Of course not! How could there be? Can't use real words about real things. Magical thinking works every time. Ironically, relatively recently, the French president endorsed Hillary Clinton while viciously attacking Donald Trump. In general, leaders around the world have been pretty open about their hatred and contempt for Donald Trump. French President François Hollande made it pretty open and clear. He wrote in a column for a French newspaper, quote, "The best thing the Democrats can do is get Hillary Clinton elected." That's according to a translation by Politico. Links to all this stuff is below. Referring to Trump, he said he offers slogans that are, quote, barely different from the extreme right in Europe and in France. And electing him, quote, would complicate relations between Europe and the U.S. Yeah, you wouldn't want any of those complicated relations going on. It's not common for a foreign leader to be so explicit about his preferences in a U.S. presidential election cycle, but I guess he prefers Hillary Clinton's policies to some of Trump's positions. And that's who's in charge. The French military police put out a request, who knows if it's the police, if it's a request or not, saying, please don't show graphical images and videos. Because that's too much reality for people. It might trigger upset. It might trigger frustration. It might trigger a desire for change. No, we cannot have that. You cannot see reality. You must see the sausage paste we manufacture out of reality, the offal tube of the mainstream media feedback. People are complaining, oh, all these videos are out, it's so graphic. Yeah. They're the same people who not 24 hours ago were happy to share explicit, gruesome, and detailed police shooting videos. Oh no, but you see, this is somehow different. François Hollande, he was in the south of France at the time of this attack, but sped back to Paris to a national crisis center. Just hours earlier, he said, well, the state of emergency that was put in place after these Paris attacks last November, we're not going to extend it when it expires on July 26. Quote, we can't extend the state of emergency indefinitely. It would make no sense. That would mean we're no longer a republic with the rule of law applied in all circumstances. It's gun-free zone, pretty much, France, so it's a good thing that the terrorists had no weapons, no hand grenades, no guns. I guess they were just using chewed-up Pop-Tarts to exchange jelly with the cops. Well, it's okay, because now, in the infinite extension of human freedom, I'm sure that trucks will be banned, and at the end of every street will be big, giant barriers. We'll build a wall, you see, around the people more narrowly and more narrowly and more narrowly, so that they're kept safe. You know who else has blood on their hands? Go with me on a little tangent. Goddamn environmentalists. Oh, how successful they have been preventing Western countries from drilling for their own oil. You see, that's wonderful. Because when you can block, in America, Arctic oil drilling, when you can block the Keystone Pipeline, when you get a wonderfully claustrophobic climate change deal in Paris, when you can put a moratorium on new federal coal drilling, you paralyze people's ability to get energy out of the ground where they live. However, funny story, people still need and want a lot of energy. I'm looking at you, Leo DiCaprio. So what do? Does that mean, oh, well, we're not going to get energy out of the ground in the West, so we'll just stop using energy? No. What happens is they send enormous amounts of money to Middle Eastern countries. Massive wealth transfer, because of environmentalism, massive wealth transfer from the West to Middle Eastern countries. Good job saving the planet, everyone. Look, I'm getting tired of this. And when you out there listening and watching to this, when you get tired of it too, guess what? It will stop. I'm going to say this to the French people, and this is probably the last time I'm going to bother if I don't see something damn well happen soon. Let me tell you something. Number one, it's still your country. Number two, the government is supposed to work for you. Number three, if you speak loudly enough, they will listen. Plato said, a long time ago, he said, the price of avoiding politics is being ruled by your inferiors. It's still your country. It's supposed to be your government. Speak loudly and they will listen. If all you want to do is buy 5 more minutes of peace and quiet, you will fall into the pit that takes all lazy civilizations. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance, as the saying has gone for a long time. What is being done in your name by your government is unholy. The French government is the 4th biggest arms dealer on the planet. They are selling untold, massive amounts of deadly weaponry to lovely places like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia and Morocco. In your name, with your money, with your implicit permission, unless you make it stop. It is still your country. You can pressure the government to pass laws, to change policies, to block, to subsidize, to ban, whatever you feel is important. You can make that case. Because is this the kind of world that you want to live in? You're walking down the street. You're kind of nervous. There's a guy with a backpack. Oh, I'm kind of nervous. That guy looks like he's got a pretty big overcoat on for a warm day. Oh, shit, was that a truck? Did I hear a truck? Oh no, did a car backfire? Yeah. Welcome to your future. Welcome to your country. The infinite land of sky-baked paranoia. That is where you're heading. Unless you get together and with a loud voice speak your mind until people in charge listen. There is a picture. It's a horrifying picture. There's a little girl in a body bag with her doll by her side. Now, you remember when that boy drowned, the migrant boy drowned? The picture was everywhere. Is the picture of this little girl going to be everywhere? Because that could be your little girl, or your little boy, or your wife, or your husband, or you next. It is still your country. Do you know what your ancestors had to do to build the country whose freedoms that remain you still enjoy? Do you know who they had to fight? Do you know what they had to do to deliver to you, with their dying, shaking hands, the liberties that you pretend to celebrate? Do you know what your responsibility is? Your responsibility is to preserve and hopefully extend those freedoms, to pass the gift on to your children that was given to you. But that means getting off your asses, getting out and talking, getting out and writing, getting out and speaking, getting out and doing something to change what we all know is coming. It does not have to go the way it feels inevitable and the way it is inevitable if you don't act. It doesn't have to go that way. The future is not written in stone. The future is written in choice and commitment and will. Are you going to sit and let it all fall away? Everything that was provided to you, everything your ancestors fought for. Are you going to act loudly, legally, peacefully, emphatically, honestly? Are you going to continue to believe the obfuscations and lies of the new, modern, ink-stained and blood-stained priests called the media, who will lie to you about everything and withhold the identity of everyone they can? Or are you going to speak the simple truths that set us all free? Are you going to turn the corner and begin building back the civilization that is decaying beneath your feet around you? Or are you going to end up, because you will not speak out in a country where you cannot speak out, are you going to end up with the kind of country where the living look back on the bodies in the road with the tire marks and envy them?